Thank you very much for joining this session. I'll be discussing the fundamentals of developing a good research question. This course is primarily for those who uh, do not have extensive experience with conducting research, but anyone who wants also to refresh his or her research skills and understanding can join and benefit from this short presentation. So this is about developing a good research question. And I want to start with defining what research itself means. Um, Research is a process. It's a process of discovering new knowledge. In a more formal way, the US Code of Federal Regulations defines research as a systematic investigation designed to develop or contribute to generalizable knowledge. There's very important keywords here, especially the words systematic and generalizable knowledge. These are crucial elements in the definition of research. So what distinguishes research from other forms of generating knowledge is the scientific method, which I also refer to as a systematic process. So it's a systematic process of generating new knowledge. And this systematic method begins with observation. It begins with the observing the world around yourself, and then you generate hypothesis and you test that hypothesis. So in three simple cycles, we can describe what research itself is. And the difference between research and other ways of generating knowledge is the presence of scientific method, which is a systematic process. But there are other ways of generating knowledge, such as intuition or reading books, but they are different and they do not have a scientific method, which is a systematic, rigorous process of generating generalizable knowledge. So what are the basic ingredients of research? I would like to use the analogy of the human body in order to describe it as anatomy and physiology. If you are not medically trained, if you don't have any background in anatomy or physiology, you don't have to worry about it because I'm not going to go into the depths of what anatomy is. This is just to describe how we can compare the basic ingredients of research to a human body. So there are two basic components. One is the anatomy of research. This means it's how, the different components of research. And the goal of the anatomy of research is to ensure that the different components are feasibly and efficiently implemented. So the different parts of the body should function, fit together in order to be able to um, implement them efficiently. But when you come to the physiology, this is about how it works. So these may not be visible to the naked eye unless you go into the system itself, but these are about making valid inferences. It's about also generalizability to the outside world, which you also put in the definition. And the goal of the physiology is to minimize random and systematic errors. So any introduction of any error into the physiology of research creates problem to the way how you interpret your results. So this is a big concept which we will deal with at a later stage of this series of presentations. But for now, let's focus on the two components of the research as anatomy and physiology of research. All of these begin with the research question at the head. So you see on the right side, the research question, it starts, with the research begins with a research question, and then you have a design somewhere in the chest, and around the bellies or abdomen you see the participants, and then you have the sample size and the measurements. Each of these are big topics in themselves, but for now let's view it like a human body that has a head composed of research question with a chest, which has a design. Somewhere down you see the participant sample size and measurements, which I will come to this also in the later part of this presentation. So when these are combined together, they form the skeletal system. And this skeletal system is represented by the research protocol. So for research, the skeletal system is a protocol, which is a written plan of study. Its different components are also elaborated here, as you see. The research question at the top, and here you ask what questions will the study address. That is the purpose of the research question. And then you go to the background and significance, because you have to give some background information about past research and how you came about, this current research question and why it is important and why should somebody invest money onto it. So these questions, the next step after the question is the background and significance. So I'm just outlining the skeletal system, which is the research protocol. Then you go into the design. So how is the study structured? The different epidemiological study designs and time frame come here. Then you have the participants. Who are the participants and how will they be selected is a question that comes next, including the criteria for inclusion and exclusion, and your sampling design should also come into play. Then you go to some statistical issues, which are often not easy to deal with unless you are well trained, but we have also some solutions to suggest when we proceed with this presentation. So how large should be the sample size and how should it be analyzed is another question based on the hypothesis and also on your analysis plans. And then you have the participants, the measurements, what variables should be measured, what are the predictor variables that you had in mind when you designed this study, what are the outcome variables, are there any potential confounders that you have to deal with in your study design. So this forms the skeletal system, which is a study protocol, also known as a written plan of a study. Once you have this picture in your mind, then you can proceed and further define your research and become more concrete in your plan.